What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Auto 101. Welcome back to an all-new car review. And today we're reviewing something that I am super excited about. It's a brand new 2024 G60 Series 5 Series. In particular, this is the 530i with xDrive, pretty much the most common trim that you'll find. And I haven't seen too many of these on the road. It's a big car for BMW, literally in size, and also in terms of its placement within the brand. So let's go on ahead, check it out, and see if it lives up to the hype of the 5 Series nameplate. All right, G60 BMW 5 Series, brand new for 2024. The first time since 2017 that BMW has launched an all-new model of the 5 Series. The previous version was the G30, and in my opinion, the G30 was one of the most attractive BMW products that was on sale. It was very handsomely styled. It was very competent from a handling perspective. It was very luxurious. Still very much felt like a nice luxury car to own. So when BMW went about releasing this new generation of 5 Series, their primary focus was really on upping the overall level of technology present in the 5 Series platform. And that means two things, really. Firstly, increasing the amount of technology on the inside, making sure that it's a car that will last well into the next decade, and also making sure that this platform is ready for EVs. And this 5 Series now comes with a fully electric variant called the i5. That's not what we have here today, but that is something that's present on this very platform. This model that we're taking a look at today is the 530i with xDrive. In North America, this will likely be the most popular variant. There will also be a 540i that has the inline 6. This has the inline 4, the B48, a venerable BMW engine now. You can find it in almost every single BMW. Extremely reliable, efficient, powerful, really a great engine to have. Some people have voiced concerns that it's too small of an engine to be in a mid-size luxury car like this. But, having driven it around, it feels perfectly adequate, perfectly competent, really no complaints with this B48 engine. Whilst we're out here, let's talk about the styling. So, with the G60 series of 5 Series, BMW hasn't really changed the wheelbase too much. It's about a couple of, not even an inch, it's like a couple of tenths of an inch longer than the G30 was, but the overall car is about 5 inches longer, and a lot of that you could see in the front and rear overhang. So it feels like a substantially longer car. It looks like a substantially bigger car, but it is still very much in the vein of 5 Series designs. Also, you'll see on the bottom here that there's this fairly large rocker panel. The reason why this rocker panel exists is to cut down the visual height of the car. You can see that it kind of just blends in with the ground, and that's because the car overall is taller to accommodate the battery pack that will go on the bottom of the i5 version. And hence, they have to increase the overall height to accommodate that pack, but they wanted to reduce the visual height, so this rocker panel has been made black so that the car itself doesn't look too large, or tall rather. What do I feel about the overall styling? Personally, I think that the G30 is one of my favorite looking 5 Series, not even 5 Series, one of my favorite looking BMWs of the last 20 plus years. So they were messing with a formula that was really already perfect. That being said, what they've done here, I think, is still very much a good looking BMW. You can see the 5 Series is an iconic nameplate for BMW, so clearly they didn't want to mess with it too much. They've been very restrained with their styling approach. It still has some somewhat traditional looking kidney grills, none of the experimental stuff that they've done on the other models. The lights also no longer have the halos, but they have 2 lines to kind of symbolize the iconography of the halos, I suppose. The car overall, the styling is a lot more flat. They've reduced a lot of the creases, a lot of the cuts to give it a more modern look, I suppose. The biggest changes can be seen in the back, where they've incorporated a completely new taillight design. It's a lot slimmer, a lot more angular. I think it looks good. Again, not as good as the G30, but still perfectly handsome and adequate for what a 5 Series should be. And, for a car that needs to kind of have the look of an EV somewhat, but also the look of a traditional sedan, I think they've done a great job here. There's also a lot of little interesting styling details with the exterior of this new 5 Series. For example, on this rocker panel here, when you open the doors, this thing lights up kind of like an entryway illumination or entryway light. That's a cool touch. Also, there's this diamond pattern on the rocker, again, just to give it a bit more pizzazz. It now has these flat handles that a lot of new BMWs have. Interesting looking. They definitely make the car look more sleek, but I think the practicality of the traditional handle style is better. The front grille, you can see right now I'm parked and it's completely closed, and that's because these are all active shutters. They're closed when they need to be for fuel economy and open when they need to be for engine cooling. So when you're a bit higher speeds, these will open up. When you're just kind of putzing around town, they stay closed to maintain fuel efficiency. These are functional air scoops. They go in and they feed air here, all to reduce the coefficient of drag. This car has a coefficient of drag of 0.22, extremely efficient, especially for a car this size. This being the base model, not a huge fan of these wheels. They definitely look a bit undersized. It's no G30, but it's still a good looking BMW. With that being said, let's go inside and check out the interior. Welcome to the interior of the BMW G65 series. So let's start off with the things that I do like. Firstly, I think that BMW has done a great job with the overall styling of the interior. It looks very modern. It looks very futuristic. It has this kind of swooping look throughout the whole front dash. This is floating and very modern looking in the middle. So they've done a good job of making it look like a more futuristic cabin compared to the G30 5 Series. At the same time, they've really managed to keep the essence and ethos of the BMW brand. And what I mean by that is they've kept the sportiness of what makes a BMW a BMW. For example, the steering wheel, whilst it is only a two-spoke design, which gives it that futuristic look, it still is a sporty steering wheel with the thick BMW bolsters that are so commonplace for BMWs now, and, you know, something that people expect in BMWs. The overall wheel design feels very sporty, as does the orientation and tilting of this dashboard. It's kind of tilted towards the driver. This part is tilted towards the driver, and that gives it that cockpit type feel that really does feel sporty and elevates the overall driving experience. Clearly now this is an all digital approach, but it still has the feeling and look of a BMW. So I think they've done a good job of combining those two things, the futuristicness with the BMW-ness. Also, the quality in here is terrific. The door panel quality is great. The dashboard quality is great. Everything that you could really touch is soft. Even this gloss black plastic piece here is of a very high quality. There's not many creaks. There's not that many rattles. Clearly, it's a brand new car, so there shouldn't be. But still, none of them are present yet. And every single material, like I said, is soft touch. This is soft. The door panels are all very high quality. The seats are nice and supple. There's also small things that show BMW's attention to detail with this cabin. For example, this piece right here, you can't really see it on camera, but it's a very soft, kind of like fabric-y texture, which is nice because when you're driving, your knee hits this, and you know, you don't want that to be hitting hard plastic or even soft plastic. So putting nice padded fabric there is a nice little example of BMW's attention to detail. This is also a nice example of the attention to detail where this speaker grille, this Harman Kardon speaker grille, flows directly into the front dashboard. Looks good. Also, the back of the 5 Series retains the same quality levels as the front. All the materials, the fit and finish, it's matching the front. And that's, again, a good example of BMW's attention to detail. And whilst we're back here, let's talk about space. There's a ton of space in the back. In many regions, the 5 Series is used as a chauffeur-driven vehicle, and the proof is in the pudding with the amount of space that's present in the back seat. Also, a lot of space in the front seat, in the passenger side, a lot of space in the driver's side. So it's a very, very spacious cabin. It's a big car on the outside, but it's also a spacious car on the inside. So BMW has definitely used that space and that size well. Things that I don't like. I think that they have gone a little bit too far with the minimalism. For example, all the climate controls are controlled via touchscreen. Some people like that. A lot of car companies are doing that now. I still have my reservations because there's still some use cases where that's not practical. For example, if you're in a cold region and you have gloves on, you can't really touch any of that, so not great. Also, the parking brake is like a partial capacitive touch button. It's a button with very little feedback, very little tactile feedback, so that should be switched back to a normal button. The door unlock and lock is also touch operated, which is not great because you kind of want to do that quickly sometimes, and you have no tactile feedback as to where that button really is if you want to quickly lock or unlock. If I go into reverse, or if I enable the camera for any reason, I can't change my seat heat controls or my steering wheel heat controls, or the ventilated seat controls, which is rather annoying. And you'd think it might be a safety feature because I'm reversing, but it's the same thing for the passenger side. Don't really know why that's the case. Also, if I go into drive, you'd think that that would stop, but it's still the same thing, you know? If I go home, then I have the ability to change that feature, but not if the camera's on. And I get maybe they don't want the overlay on the camera. It just seems like an oversight that I can't change that. Last thing, the vents are integrated into here. So it looks very sleek, looks very modern, but you have to control them through this little joystick on the bottom. And you can kind of see them here, but from here, you can't really see what the vents are doing other than where this arrow is pointing. So if you want to exactly direct the airflow, you can't really see where the airflow is going unless you feel it, which is not great, because in a traditional vent, you could clearly see kind of where the vent is pointing, and you could use your judgment to see where the air is going to go. And the same joystick situation is on both sides as well. So other than these small little foibles with minimalism, I think the interior is a great, modern, sporty place to be that still ultimately feels like a BMW, but just substantially more futuristic. All right, a few powertrain options on offer with the BMW 5 Series G60 in North America. Starting off, we have the B48 inline 4, 255 horsepower, mildly electrified, and this will be present on the 530i as well as the 530i xDrive. Moving up to the 540, we'll get you the B58 inline 6, which will be extremely buttery smooth, probably the best engine on offer right now on the 5 Series. There's also a fully electric version, the i5, I mentioned that earlier, that has the skateboard EV powertrain from BMW. And soon, there will be a BMW M5. And I'm excited to see what BMW does with the M5 on this G60 platform.